Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Friday, August 29th, 2025. I am Dave Biddle. I'll be joined by Mr. Jonah Booker in just a moment. BTA Fridays are back. Obviously, massive game tomorrow. Can't wait. We're like just under 24 hours away, my friends. 26 hours to be exact. I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome. You can just feel the energy here in Columbus this morning. It was nice and cloudy. Not cloudy. It was nice and foggy this morning. It still is. It just has that football feel. Never thought the weather would be this nice. It's going to be nice and crisp tomorrow. If you're tailgating, it's going to be like in the 60s, low 60s, maybe even the high 50s early in the morning. By kickoff, they're saying like it's going to be like 68 degrees. I love it. I would have lost a lot of money, man. I would have bet that we would have been looking at 90 degrees or warmer. I love it. I love being wrong on that front. All right, let me retweet the show here, and I'm going to do a quick ad read. Then we're going to bring in the one and only Jay Book. We're going to give predictions. We're going to talk about this matchup. And I'm going to let you guys know about Ridge Wallet. I mean, yeah, that's a wallet, believe it or not. Bam. And a great deal you guys can get. And, yeah, you got to love Ridge wallets. And people don't even believe it's actually a wallet. Like, yeah, it's a wallet. You got your cash strap back there. It holds up to 12 cards. It's perfect. I just have 2 cards in there right now. We probably carry too many cards. Let's be real. You need like your driver's license and a couple credit cards, maybe a AAA card if you're a AAA member, a few other things like that. You don't really need more than 12 cards. And you definitely don't need a George Costanza-esque wallet that weighs like 20 pounds. All right. So you guys ready to upgrade your wallet and maybe your ride as well? For a limited time only, head to ridge.com. Use code Bucknuts at checkout for 10% off your order. Also, you can have a chance to win Ridge's biggest sweepstakes ever. They're giving away a Lamborghini. Yeah, you can win a Lamborghini. You also can win a Hennessy Velociraptor or $100,000 in cash. No purchase necessary to enter. But every dollar you spend gets you more entries. That's ridge.com. Use code Bucknuts. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Ridge.com. Use code Bucknuts at checkout. You get 10% off, and you could win a Lamborghini. You could win a Hennessy Velociraptor or $100,000 in cash. And get yourself one of these cool wallets, too. All right. Speaking of cool, let's bring in Jay Book, BTA Fridays. Welcome in, sir.
We made it, Dave.
We made it. It feels great. It's always great to see you on a Friday, but it's a little more special during the season. So do you want to cut right to the chase with the predictions? I'll give mine first because I have it right here. And then
let's lay the format out to everybody. Okay. So Dave and I, every year we do our Ohio State score predictions. We have a crew of guys down there in the South, Bill King listeners, who they're also going to be charting our predictions. They've been doing it every year. And then this year, Dave, we're going to do what? One best bet.
Yeah, man. And I wish we were doing the show yesterday. Well, not, and then it would be BTA Fridays because I had a pretty nice parlay last night and it was like MAC heavy. So I took your Ohio Bobcats to cover and they did. Okay. I got lucky with Miami. I shouldn't have taken the Redhawks, but I did to cover. The point spread was 17.5. Wisconsin won 17-0. I'm like, Luke, that was perfect, Luke. So I got lucky on that one. And then what was the other one that I had? So I had Ohio University. Gosh, what am I leaving out here? Anyway, I hit a 4-leg parlay, but I really liked. I liked the. It turned out Minnesota actually played well. I thought that. Who did Minnesota play? Buffalo. I thought Buffalo.
It was 13.
That was another.
Yeah, it was 13-10 going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and Buffalo covered too, and I hit one other that I got like lucky on, but so I hit a 4-leg parlay. Okay,
yeah. So we're going to be charting these all year to see how we do, see how close we are with the Ohio State predictions. So this is just for fun.
Right? All right, so we're going to do our Ohio State predictions, and then we're going to do one best bet. All right. I have mine already locked in here. Do you want to at the same time just announce it?
You go first, then I'll do mine.
You have yours? All right. Here's mine. Bam. For those just listening to the show, I have Ohio State 27, Texas 24. Ohio State 27, Texas 24.
and I have Ohio State 27, Texas 20, and that's in my write-up with Patrick Murphy. We'll be putting on the Bucknuts site today. So Dave and I, we never talk about these picks before we go on the show. We never our show, we do zero prep. We just go on here and we talk ball and say, hey, let's just talk about it naturally, see how it goes. We've been doing that for 10 plus years. And our scores, they're usually very similar. And so in my score prediction that we did as a staff, that Pat will be published in a day, I got 27-20. So hey, we're very, very close.
Very close. That's crazy how we're always so close. And I was tempted to pick like something more like that, but I do kind of I'm like cautiously optimistic, I'll say. Like, I'm confident Ohio State's going to win this game, but not like where I'm going to I wouldn't like bet on it or anything like that. But I'm pretty confident Ohio State's going to win. I just think home field advantage is something people are somewhat glossing over on a national scale, not Bucknutters, but like if this game was in Austin, I'd be definitely more worried about it. I think because it's at noon, and for whatever reason, you're not hearing many people say like that this is going to be a hostile environment. It will be a hostile environment for sure. Yeah.
I'm excited to see. I know it's just a small thing, and a lot of people probably was like, oh, whatever. I'm actually kind of excited to see the visuals of all 100,000 towels in this shoe being waved. Like I don't recall that ever being something that they've done before. Do you?
No, they've never done that. The towel. Taking a page out of the Steelers book, huh? I don't know if I like that as a Bengal fan, but whatever.
Right. But I think it'd just be kind of neat because we've never seen it before.
It is cool. And I like how the fans are going to get like, they can get Buckeye leaves, which is cool. Like if they're like loud, at certain decibels, like then the fans will get like a Buckeye leaf, or they cause a timeout, or they cause like a pre-snap penalty because they're so loud. Fans get a Buckeye leaf. I think that's really cool. A lot of the stuff they're doing, I'm on board with. I know Ross Bjork's gotten a lot of pushback. The song, I can take or leave. The guys are really nice guys. Patrick Murphy reached out to them, did a story on them. The guys from camp, super nice guys, Buckeye fans. I'm not a huge fan of that song, but maybe it'll grow on me. I don't know. But I do like a lot of the stuff that they're doing. The Buckeye Leafs thing is really super cool. All right, let's move along here. I love that our predictions are so close always. It cracks me up. Okay, so I'll go first on this one. Best bet. I have Michigan State covering tonight against Western Michigan. I think Michigan State's a little underrated. I like Childs. I was looking at Phil Steele. I don't know much about Western Michigan, but I trust Phil Steele. He's got them as like 9th in the MAC. He had like Toledo winning the MAC. He's got Buffalo up there. Ohio University's right up there, like 3rd. He's got Western Michigan behind the other directional Michigan schools. So Western Michigan's not supposed to be that good this year. I think Michigan State's a little underrated. I think Childs, was a sophomore last year, first-year starter, was up and down, but I really like his talent. I like the receiver they have, Marsh. I like Michigan State to win this game by 21 or more. The point spread is 20.5. Give me the Spartans to cover.
What's the total you got on that one? Where are you showing it right now?
I can't remember. Here, let me look at it real quick. So I was just looking at it. I just was looking at the spread. So the over-under is 49.5.
That's my best bet right there, Dave. And I had that one bookmarked. Michigan State versus Western Michigan under 49.5.
Okay.
That's my best bet. And it's funny that you actually picked the same game to bet on as well. So
that's wild. I know.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And
oh gosh.
And I'm looking at it as one of those situations to where I'm watching these Big Ten teams versus the MAC, and they're starting off slow. I'm not sure what this Michigan State offense is going to look like. Western Michigan, I don't think they're going to be very good. Getting 50 points in this game to cover, I like the odds on this one. Give me the under.
Yeah, that makes me think twice that maybe I shouldn't take Michigan State in the. I don't know. We can.
I can see both. Michigan State. I can see Michigan State covering this game like 28-7, something like that. 35-7, and it's still hits. And it still hits the under. I don't think Western Michigan's very good. And if you're Michigan State and you're up big, I couldn't see a situation where they're going to try to run it up on an in-state MAC school.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I like maybe if it was Central Michigan, they would, given everything that happened with Connor
That's true.
Stallions. Maybe if it was Central, but yeah, maybe not Western. But yeah, okay, all right, that's hilarious. Like I was thinking, because I was looking at the Saturday games, I'm like, I'm gonna pick a game tonight. I like that we got Big Ten football tonight.
Right. But the other one, and I was going back and forth, is I think Georgia Tech might smash Colorado. Like I feel like I feel like Haynes King and that Georgia Tech team. I mean, I can't get in the back of my mind how that Georgia Tech team took Georgia into their own stadium to multiple overtimes. And then you're going on a road to Colorado. Like Georgia Tech is one of these teams that a lot of teams believe could be a squad that makes a lot of noise in the ACC this year, especially with what they got coming back in the trenches. So I could see a situation to where Colorado takes a major step back. I mean, it's not like Colorado was world beaters anyways with the Heisman Trophy winner and Shedeur Sanders. You lose those two guys and you bring in a Haynes King team, Georgia Tech team that will smack them in the mouth. I could see Georgia Tech running away with that game, but I didn't go it as the best bet, but it was one that I was thinking about.
I might tail you on that one, man. I like that a lot because I think now there's been like an overcorrection. I'm a Deion fan. I've always liked Deion back with even before he played for the Reds, like when his Florida State days. Like I'm showing my age, but like still, I've always liked Deion, and everybody like was kind of critical. Most people were critical and like downplaying him. And even though they only won 4 games his first year, that they still hit the over of the. I think their over under was like 3.5. So it wasn't like even the first year was a disaster. And then last year they were a ranked team. But so I think now there's been overcorrection. People are like maybe afraid to like because they were wrong about Deion. But yeah, I mean this year is going to be tough with no Shedeur, no Travis Hunter. Like yeah. And as you mentioned, Georgia Tech.
Jimmy Horn. They lost Jimmy Horn too. Their other wide receiver.
Exactly. So, yeah, I might make that bet right now. Actually, no. Okay, I'll wait till after the show. I'll try and be a little professional here and wait till wager on sports till after the show. So yeah, I mean, we talked about this in the roundtable that's going to come out later today. Before we move to what you're most confident about regarding this game? What concerns you the most from Ohio State's perspective?
I will say the one thing that concerns me is all indications Brian Hartline will actually be calling the plays. And so you got a first-time play caller up in the booth, which I like that, having Hartline in the booth. The one thing that concerns me is it's his first time calling plays. And he's going against a Texas defensive coordinator who is very good schemer. We saw what he was able to do to somewhat limit that Ohio State offense last year. If Brian Hartline starts to get into second, third quarter and Texas starts to throw some things that he was not expecting, how does he counter that? That's something that I'm curious to see. That's the one area where we don't know what's going to happen. The good news is you have Coach Day, who's probably the best play caller in college football, on the other side of the headset there, to where if they need to make those adjustments on the fly, he's going to be there to help guide Brian just in case. This is one of those break glass in case of an emergency type of situation. But that's my biggest concern, that I'm not sure how it's going to play out with a first-time play caller. What about you?
Yeah, that's one of my concerns, but it's mitigated by the fact that Ryan Day makes no bones about the fact he's got veto power and probably a little more. He's probably at certain times he's just going to tell Hartline what to call or just call it himself and not tell us that. He's not going to embarrass Brian publicly. Yeah. But like, especially in this game, for his first time ever calling plays, like you're just not going to throw him out there and be like, all right, Brian, good luck. Like Ryan Day will be more than holding his hand throughout this game. But yeah, I mean, I know I'm being obvious, but backup D tackle. I mean, like it's just something that's just been a thing and hasn't gone away. And maybe I always love this about the opener. Obviously, this year's in a different stratosphere because it's Ohio State, Texas. But I always love the opener for many reasons, but most especially to see who's where on the depth chart. So we've talked about this and that. Who's going to be the first D tackle off the bench? Well, we're going to know. I think it's going to be Will Smith, Tywone Malone, and Jarquez Carter has a lot of positive vibes right now. But yeah, I need to see it first because K-Mac cannot, like he's going to need to rest at times, obviously, and he's the best D tackle in my opinion. Then Edric, Hopefully he's 100%. Are we sure he's 100% though? And he's missed some practice time too, so he's going to need some rest. So the backup D tackles are going to need to play a lot. And do you see Hero Canoes listed as a starter for Texas?
Yeah, I saw that, man. My goodness, like I really wish he would have stayed. I mean, we were all off season. We were talking about like it's now or never for Jason Moore, and it was one of those situations where the opportunity was right for the picking for him. And poor guy can't stay healthy, gets hurt. I think he's in a walking boot right now. And he was walking around in a boot. And so I don't know where he's going to be at once he gets healthy, but it looks like kind of a situation to where if you get something from him, great. If not, you got to move on with Will Smith and Tywan Malone.
Yeah, they just need to go in there and hold the fort down. I love the depth at D end. I love the linebackers. I love the secondary. It's just, and I like the starters at D tackle. Life is good when like, what's your biggest concern? A backup D tackle? Life's pretty good if that's your biggest concern. And life is good. All right, let me do one more ad read here before we move on to other topics. I want to get J-Buck. I just posted, or I'm about to post a story. I just read a story that this sports book for high rollers. I'll have to look up the name of it. Oh God, what's it called? Here, I have it right here. God, what's it called? I just looked at this. Circa. So there's this sports book called Circa that I had never heard of. That's just because I'm not a high roller. It caters to professional sports gamblers. They had a $550,000 bet come in on Texas this week.
Yeah.
They also had a lot of other big bets. That was the biggest one. They had several six-figure bets come in on the Longhorns. So they moved the line all the way from, they already dropped it down to -1.5 Ohio State. Then they moved it all the way where Texas was favored by a point. Then this morning it went back to now it's a pick 'em. So the money is coming in. The sharp money is coming in on Texas. I want to get your thoughts on that in a minute. Before we do that, I'll let you guys know about Vuori. Vuori is awesome. It's stylish activewear that is designed to look great beyond the gym, whether you're running errands, heading to the office, meeting up with friends, whatever the case may be. This gear is great for playing tennis, pickleball, whatever your sport of choice might be. It's also good just for lounging around the house and watching our Buckeyes. Again, we're talking style and comfort. It's a great combination. As for the comfort part of the equation, these are the softest joggers on the planet. They're lightweight. They come with stretch fitting, and they're highly stylish. Like I said, they're not your average jogger. Vuori is an investment in your happiness. For our listeners, they are offering 20% off your first purchase. Get yourself some of the most comfortable and versatile clothing on the planet at vuori.com/bucknuts. That's VUORI.com/bucknuts. Exclusions apply. Visit the website for full terms and condition. Not only will you receive 20% off your first purchase, but enjoy free shipping on any U.S. orders over $75, and you get free returns. Again, go to vuori.com/bucknuts and discover the versatility and awesomeness of Vuori clothing. All right. So, yeah, man, the sharp money's coming in on Texas. That surprises me a little bit.
Yeah, I think it was on VSiN last night. They had some of the Circa bigwigs over there, and they said they moved the line after that $550K bet came in because they wanted to try to get some buyback on Ohio State to try to balance the books there. I look at it as a situation to where, hey, it's going to be a lot of people upset come Saturday after Ohio State pulls out this win. That's how I feel about it. But yeah, it's a lot of money coming in right now. And I mean, when you look at this Texas team, I would not feel comfortable laying that type of cash, especially when they have major question marks on the offensive line, Dave.
Yes, they only have one returning starter, and isn't he banged up? Like he's going to play?
And that's why our next segment is, and the roundup is, what are we confident in? And I'm confident in this Ohio State defensive line matching up against this Texas offensive line. They pretty much had a camp. If you're reading the Texas 24/7 board, where the offensive line struggled all throughout camp. They had injury issues. They lost guys to attrition last year. Now their starting left tackle recently had hand surgery, he wants to play. They haven't officially declared that their starting left tackle is going to play. However, they're saying if he does play, he's going to have one of those huge clubs cast on his hands, where he's basically going to be out there one-handed trying to block on the left side. You're going to have Brandon Baker, who was actually in a competition for the right side tackle. He's going to be their starting tackle who hasn't played before. The guy that he was in a competition with, they lost him for the season. On the left side with the left guard, they actually haven't settled on the starting left guard. Indications are they're going to be rotating their left guard. So one, you got a starting left tackle who's banged up, who's going to have a massive club cast on his hand. And two, you're going to be rotating your guards right next to him. I would not throw some heavy cash down. I mean, that's way too many variables. Everybody knows that when it comes to these type of heavyweight matchup, it all starts up front in the trenches. And then you look at this Ohio State defensive line. If they know that they're going to have to create havoc, Ohio State traditionally, when they jump up on top of you, Dave, and this fan base gets behind them, they will absolutely maul you. And if they get this Texas offense in 3rd and long, 2nd and long, and that crowd is into it, that bell rings, and it's hostile in there, that's where Texas, they don't want to be in that type of situation. So that's why I feel extremely confident against this Ohio State defensive line versus this Texas offensive line. Way too many variables. And if you're to believe the Texas side, where they struggled during camp, there were a lot of times where the offense was inefficient. Texas offense going against their defense because of the struggles with the offensive line. I just look at it as this right here is an opportunity for Larry Johnson's judo class to come into play. Mm-hmm. You never want to cheap shot anybody, but if you're Logan George, if you're Kenyatta Jackson, if you're Caden Curry, and you're lined up against a left tackle who has a club on his hand, isn't that what Larry teach him?
Yep.
The violence with the hands, with the judo. That's what we joked about. You got to test it out and see where they're at.
And I love that he does that. I'm using martial arts, like, to make your hands quicker. I mean, it just makes so much sense. And it's just so important for defensive ends. And it's a great point, Jay Book, because we talk a lot about like I did earlier, lack of depth at D tackle. And maybe the depth will be fine at D tackle. They definitely have some solid candidates. So we'll find out. Maybe the depth is going to be fine. The defensive end, there's no doubt they're stacked. And that's despite losing 2 studs with JT and Jack, because, Kenyatta Jackson just looks fantastic. Caden Curry, I think, is going to have a solid year. Bo Atkinson might not technically be a starter, but he's going to play a ton. They like him. He can even kick inside a little bit. CJ Hicks, Logan George. I mean, they're at least 5 deep at DN. That's not even counting like the real young pups like Zion Grady and Epi, and they're veteran. All those guys I mentioned are like 4th-year guys or 5th-year guys. So very, very veteran. Most of them are 4th-year guys. Yeah, CJ Hicks, all those guys. Bo Atkinson, Logan George, Caden Curry, Kenyatta Jackson, all entering their 4th year. I think they can get some damage done. That's definitely one of the things I'm most confident in. Also, I know I'm being obvious here. How can you not be confident in Ohio State's pass catchers against this secondary? I mean, they lost a couple of good players from their secondary, Texas did. Ohio State lost to Mecca, but they have the best wide receiving core in America. They've got the best tight end core in America. If they do what they did last year, Jay Book, try and take JJ out of the game, okay. Then you got Carnell Tate, you got Brandon Ennis, and you got Max Clare, and other weapons too. So it's a pick your poison thing. So I'm very confident about that.
Yeah, here's the other thing about taking JJ out of the game, because during that time in the playoff run, you had that 1 week stretch to where you're like, okay, we beat Oregon, time to get ready for Texas. Texas did a good job coming up with a game plan to slow JJ down. Now that you're Ohio State, you know that Texas, same defensive coordinator, a lot of the same personnel, especially on their front 7, a couple changing pieces on the back end, but you had all off season. You had 8 weeks in the camp to say, okay, we're not going to allow JJ to be stationary. We're going to move him around to make sure that we're going to get him the ball. Is it orbit motions? Are we going to get him on the screen? Are we going to throw some quick games to get the ball in his hand immediately? I don't think you're going to see a situation to where JJ is just lined up on the outside and he has to try to get open with a safety over top. I think they're going to be creative in how they're going to get him the football early and often. And the other thing that stood out to me this week, Ryan Day asked about it. No restrictions on Julian Sand. He said, hey, go win the football game. Let her rip. He goes, there's no restrictions on him. Go out there and ball out.
Having a little fun here. I'm curious to get your take on this, what I consider very stupid Dave Portnoy drama. But I am curious who's lying. And we're going to find out who's lying. Because if Portnoy, if you believe him that Ohio State's banning him, okay, well, if he shows up at every other stadium that, for a Fox's pregame show, we'll know Ohio State was lying. If what Fox is saying is true and what Ohio State is saying, that no, he was going to be on the show, but there was never any plans for him to be on campus at any. Now, I'm sure he'll be there for the Ohio State-Michigan game with it being in Ann Arbor. Other than that one, if he's not at any stadiums other than Michigan, we'll know that Portnoy was lying. It's that simple to me.
Yeah. And that's why I totally agree with that. That's why I said on Twitter, people got mad at me when I said it. Ross Bjork shouldn't have said anything, because why come out and release a statement? Just go ahead, let people believe what they want to believe. And as they go next week to Iowa State, if Dave's not allowed into Iowa State Stadium, what are they going to look around and say, wait, so did Iowa State ban him? And then the following week on September 13th, when they go to Northwestern and he's not allowed in the stadium at Northwestern versus Oregon, they're going to say, what, Northwestern banned him? And then they're going to circle back and say, well, maybe Ohio State didn't actually ban him. It truly is a Fox decision to say, hey, if he's not at the main desk, he doesn't go inside the stadium. But I would take the big picture for this. Ohio State needs to do a much better job with their PI, with their crisis management, Dave. I feel like they do for such a large billion-dollar entity that Ohio State football is. I feel like they're so reactionary instead of being like all on the same page here. Like, I feel like, I don't know, it's just weird. Like I feel like they're not a step ahead. They're always a step behind when it comes to these type of situations. Like, tighten it up on the inside there, fellas.
Yeah, there's too many self-inflicted wounds. And I personally like Ross Bjork a lot. And I'll get to this, but like, one of the great things about Ross is his accessibility. He's very accessible. One of the worst things about Ross is his accessibility. He's very accessible, meaning he's probably going to talk a little too much, and he'll joke about it now. Like, he knows he shouldn't have said the $20 million thing last year about that. Because other teams were paying that much or more. Then the narrative was, oh, Ohio State's trying to buy a national championship. And he realizes now he shouldn't have said that.
And you and I said that too at the time. You and I said, like, that was a mistake, because that right there gave ammunition for everybody to use that as a talking point. And when he's the only AD at the time that put that out there. But yeah, you're right. He does put a lot of stuff out there.
I'll get you out of here in this. This is a good comment from Troy, Troy, on the YouTube. He said, I don't think people realize, J-Book, that Will Howard was limited in the passing game. If Sand is who we hope he is by midseason, this offense should be unreal. Yeah, I mean, I think Julian Sand's going to be really good at some point this year. I just don't know when, like how early. Yeah. Hopefully it's tomorrow.
I'm not going to shortchange Will Howard, Dave, because I mean, that playoff run, and outside of that Michigan game, he was dropping balls in the bucket there. I mean, against some of the top teams, he was like a 70+% completion percentage, and he was throwing some dimes. So I'm not going to shortchange him. And they were throwing some strikes down the field. The thing with Julian, though, is you don't need Julian to be better than Will Howard to win football games. You just need Julian to keep the Lamborghini on the road. You have so many weapons at his disposal. Just get him, just get Jeremiah and Carnell and Brandon and Max Clare and Jelani Thurman. Just get those guys to football and let them do what they do best, which is make plays. And that's the thing with Julian. Like, he has all the arm talent in the world. He doesn't have the experience. You can't replicate the experience that Will had in the huddle. So when it's gut check time and you're in the Cotton Bowl and Will Howard, because you remember, Dave, and we can revisit it. Texas came down late in that game and they scored, and it felt like Texas was starting to grab that momentum. And it's late in the game. Ohio State turns right back around. Will Howard had ice in his veins. It's that drive to where he did that quarterback run on 4th and 1, and he tripped himself up. That drive right there was so critical. But when you go back and watch that entire sequence, Will was dealing. And it just shows kind of his veteran presence and his gut check time. It's like, hey, this is a gotta have it moment. Championship on the line. Texas is starting to get a little bit momentum. We got to answer that last touchdown. And sure enough, Will, 80 yards, 70 yards, let him right back down, scored. I think Judkins finished it off inside the 5. But that right there just kind of tells you what type of leader Will was, to where the moment didn't get too big for him. Now, the one thing that the players are saying about Julian is he's showing a lot of confidence. He's really starting to come within himself. But hey, you got to start somewhere. For Julian, you're starting against the #1 team in the country. He's going to make mistakes. Don't kill him if he makes mistakes. But man, if he goes out here and plays well, Dave, the city is going to be on fire. Because think about it. If he goes out here, hypothetically, Dave, let's just throw a stat line out there. Let's go say 23 for 30, three TDs, 285 in a win.
Whew.
And he outshines Arch. You know what type of buzz that's going to do in Columbus, man? Heading into the rest of the Big Ten schedule. If you're Julian saying, like, we already know, like, if you're good in Columbus, the hype just goes absolutely insane. So he has an opportunity to be like, I'm that guy. I'm that guy. But it starts somewhere. Great opportunity for him. This is why you come to Ohio State, for the big stage, where the lights are the brightest. I'm excited for this game. I'm fired up, man.
I don't think I could be any more excited. It's just all for like a variety of reasons. Like there's a number of reasons. It's just, Sands' first start, defending national champs. First time we've ever had an opener with 1 versus 2 in one poll, 1 versus 3 in the other at Ohio State. I love that it's in Columbus. I love that it's 20 years after the last home and home. Let's hope tomorrow goes a little better than the game 20 years ago in Columbus. But I expect a good one, and I expect the Buckeyes to come out on top.
Before we get out here, you hear Mac Brown. You see the Mac Brown comments about the last time that they visited the shoe.
I'm trying to remember. I think I did see a headline. Remind me, what did he say?
I had tweeted it out. They had some guys who covered Texas. I guess they had like a luncheon down there, and they asked Mac Brown about visiting Columbus. He said it was the loudest place that he has ever been. He said, luckily they had practiced without having to call in the plays because they couldn't hear things. He said it was so loud that the coaches couldn't hear each other on the sidelines. And Mac made the point. He said it's an advantage for Texas to have this game at noon, because he said playing in Columbus at night is a whole totally different beast there. But some of the guys who were at that game, they're saying that Ohio State then at that era, 2005, is a whole lot different than what Ohio State is now, because you have more of the wine and cheese crowd. But make no mistake, this game's going to be rowdy. But I thought it was fascinating that even Mac Brown said this is a slight advantage for Texas having this game at noon.
Great stuff, my friend. And of course, our prediction was almost spot on as usual. We're usually right on the same page, and we were once again. There you go. I have 27-24 Ohio State. I like J-Book's prediction more. He's got Buckeyes 27-20. All right. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you as always. You have a great weekend. I know you will if the Buckeyes win tomorrow.
All right. Talk to you next week, my friend.
Thanks, Jay Book.
Yep.
Appreciate you. Oh, he's awesome. So I have one more ad read, and then I'm going to get into one minor concern that I have. And it does involve Julian saying minor concern. Heavy emphasis on minor. DraftKings is major, though. The rivalries, the marching bands, the upsets. Saturdays just got way more fun. College football is back. You think you know the game? Put your knowledge to the test with DraftKings Sportsbook and turn your picks into big payouts. With live betting, rivalry week odds boosts, and more, DraftKings Sportsbook has everything you need to own every Saturday. For example, Ohio State, well, now it's dropped a little bit. Now Ohio State's down to, they're listed at 1.5 favorites, point favorites on DraftKings. It was 2.5. It's down to 1.5. Do you think the Buckeyes are going to win by 2 or more points? Go to DraftKings, man, and place your wager. And here's something really cool. Here's something special for our first-timers, our listeners. If you're a first-time, if you've never signed up for a DraftKings account, this is for you. This is an amazing deal. New DraftKings customers, you bet $5, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Bet $5 and you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. That's right. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code Bucknuts. That's code Bucknuts for new customers. You get $300 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. It's a fantastic deal. Bet $5, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. All right, so a minor concern I have, again, heavy emphasis on minor, is the lack of the QB run. Now, maybe there won't be a lack of a QB run. Maybe, Julian will be, not obviously what Will was, not that Will was Michael Vick or anything, but Will was a very effective runner. It's a big reason why, in my opinion, Ohio State went from one of the worst short yardage, goal line, red zone teams in the country as far as scoring touchdowns the previous year with Kyle McCord to literally the best in the country. And there were other factors, but the defense having to account for the quarterback run, Will being good at it. If you don't have to account for the quarterback run, it just gives the defense a huge advantage in short yardage. Huge. So Julian at least needs to be somewhat of a threat. The problem is during the Ryan Day era, other than Justin Fields ran, he even said he didn't run nearly as much as he would have liked to because, Coach Day knew his backups were Chugs and Gunnar Hoke. He wanted to keep Justin in one piece. And almost didn't in that Clemson game that Ohio State beat Clemson in the semifinals when Justin got rocked, missed all of one play, I think. Got rocked in the Michigan game that year too. I think missed just one play. I think Chugs came in and actually completed a pass, and then Justin came right back in. Just a tough dude. My point is, how much did CJ Stroud run? He didn't until the Georgia game, his last game, and we saw that he could be an effective runner. It's just Coach Day didn't pull that out. And maybe this was a combination of factors last year. Because you have Chip Kelly, who loves the quarterback run, and you had a good running quarterback in Will Howard. Very effective running quarterback in Will Howard. Big guy. Julian, not that big. Is he quick and mobile? Yes. He's not a statue. Don't get me wrong. I know that's just why I think it'll be somewhere between Kyle McCord and Will Howard. And I'll take that because that means he's at least a threat to run. He's going to do it sometimes. The defense knows they have to account for him. The defense knew they didn't have to account for Kyle McCord. And really the same thing with CJ Stroud. After so much data was there, you're looking at the metrics. If you're a defensive coordinator, you're like, they never run the quarterback. Maybe this will be the game they finally do, but until proven otherwise, we're going to assume they stick with this tendency that they never run the quarterback. So, and then you saw, Ohio State wasn't as good in short yardage as they should have been during the Stroud era, in my opinion, because of the lack of the QB run. So, again, they're not going to major in it this year. They shouldn't major in it. They didn't even major in it last year. They need a minor in it. It needs to be a part of the offense, and it's a minor concern that I have because overall in the Day era, he shied away from the QB run overall, with some exceptions. Okay, but overall he has shied away from the QB run. So maybe having what he considers a strong backup in Lincoln this year, maybe he'll change that and turn Julian loose. But Julian being young, even though he's put on some weight, and I think he's taller than most people think, he's still not a big quarterback. 6'1", 208. He says he's 210, more like 6'1.5". I think he is more like 6'1.5". So again, he's not a tiny quarterback, but he's not a big guy like Will Howard. So a minor concern that I have is the lack of QB run. in this offense this year. And again, certain teams, it won't matter against certain teams. But against Texas, it'll matter. You can't have Texas playing 11 on 10 where they have 11 guys on defense and you basically have 10 on offense because the quarterback is no threat to run. So got to have the QB run as a threat. And I think they will. But just a minor concern that I have. All right. Great stuff from J-Book. Thanks to all of you. I'll be with you guys tomorrow right after the game, what we learned live, immediately following the game. I'll be joined by Heater. I'm going to try and get some other guys on the show as well. Obviously, Pat and Steve will be on after post-game interviews. But I'll be going live right after the final gun. Hopefully we have something fun to talk about. I think we will. I'm not like overly confident, but I'm confident. I think Ohio State's going to win this game, and I think home field advantage is something that's not getting enough play out there. Maybe more $500,000 bets will come in on Texas, and the Longhorns will actually be favored by game time, which would be the first time Ohio State's been an underdog at home since 2018 Michigan. How'd that work out? 62-39 Buckeyes. It barely covered that spread, huh? So reminds me when they beat on a bigger scale, when they beat Wisconsin 59-0 in that Big Ten championship game, the year 2014 when they won the national title. Wisconsin was a 4-point favorite in that game. It's just hilarious. They went 59-0, and Ohio State was a 4-point underdog, which is understandable. Cardell making his first start. I don't think any of us were predicting 59-0 in that game, but it's still one of the funnest Ohio State games ever. 59-0. 62-39 against Michigan in 2018 was pretty damn fun too. Every game during the CFP was a lot of fun, including the win over Texas. Let's hope tomorrow's a lot of fun too. I think it will be. All right, great stuff from J-Book. Thanks to him. Thanks to all of you. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow on what we learned live. Hope everyone has a great rest of your day and a great weekend. Go Bucks.